If you're new to golf, walking into a golf store can feel overwhelming. Drivers, hybrids, irons, wedges, putters. You have 14 club sets, 9 club sets, 7 club sets. Should I get a custom fitting? Do I need a fitting? Can I use $200? Do I need thousands of dollars? So much going on. But here's the truth. As a beginner, you don't need 14 clubs. Today, I'm going to be giving you the no nonsense guide to what golf clubs you actually need and what you can skip. Welcome to the A Perfect Swing podcast, where golf meets leadership, confidence, and strategy. I'm Ashante Epps, LPGA professional and executive influence strategist. Today, we're cutting through the confusion. So, you're new to golf. You are trying to identify what clubs to purchase. Well, what do? Do I need a driver? Do I need hybrids? Irons, wedges? There's a commercial for everything. You see so many different options as it pertains to clubs. Then there's the fitting. What things do I need to ensure my clubs are fitted for? And then there's the price. How much is all of this going to cost me? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's probably not as bad as you think. So I bought my first set of golf clubs at a Relay for Life fundraising event. I was attending, it's one of those events where you enter as a team and you walk all night circling the track. And they have auction items throughout the night. Well, this happened probably 6 months after I said, I think I need to play golf. Again, for those who aren't aware, I was a corporate business professional, understanding that it was a situation where I need to begin to play golf so that I could be a part of those critical conversations, one of which I was already clear that I was left out of. So I said, I'm going to buy some clubs. I've gotten clearance from an orthopedic doctor. It's time to hit the road. But I had not bought any. And I may have put it off, a couple of times. But just so happened that during this Relay for Life event, there was an auction for golf clubs. Well, for me, we always looking for a sign, right? Well, I felt like that was my sign. And that's when I bought my first set of golf clubs. I didn't look at the length of the shaft. I didn't look at how many was in the bag. It was pink. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta. I didn't hold that against it. I just know I needed some clubs. And I got it at a great price. And more importantly, it helped a great cause. So looking back then, I really just jumped into the sea of golfness, as I call it. And as I began to learn and understand and grow my golf skill set, several things really became clear. And I'm going to share some of those learnings here as it pertains to what I really needed. And even now, when I'm working with my students, what beginners really need. Sometimes, or not even sometimes, oftentimes we think that to begin playing golf, there is a large investment that you have to make and that there's miles of equipment that you need. But the reality is you don't need everything that you think you need. Additionally, as a beginner, you don't need everything that you would need as an advanced player to begin learning to play golf. So let's start there. In golf, there's a rule that you can only have 14 clubs in your bag while you're playing. I am here to tell you, you do not need 14 clubs in your bag as a beginner learning to play the game of golf. Okay? As you hone in on certain skill sets for the game, just having the key pieces to assist you with honing those skill sets is really all you need in the bag. Really, when you think about it, if you have too many clubs in your bag, it's going to slow down your progress because there's more to think about, more decisions to make if you're out playing, more confusion. It's like, I have this club in my bag and I've never hit it before. Well, let me hit this one. Okay, right? And then less consistency because you're not honing in on some of those key fundamental skill set things that you need to work on. So when you're learning to play golf, your focus should really be on solid contact. So meaning you're making contact with the ball, and shall I say the club face. So the face of your club making good contact with the ball because that's how you get the ball in the air. And then confidence. Understanding that when I swing this club, I'm gonna hit the ball, right? Because that's the first task. And then the other is repetition. With repetition, you begin to develop muscle memory. And the golf swing is very different from a baseball swing. So the more you do it, the more it feels or it will begin to feel normal. Or let's just say, not that it will begin to feel normal, but that it could become a normal part of the or a normal swing per se. And that is really key in you feeling comfortable with that. So when we think about clubs or even anything, simplicity is really what's going to allow you to accelerate your skill growth. So there are 5 clubs every beginner actually needs in their bag. And so let's talk about them. One is the putter. You have no other option. You need a putter. The putter, most people identify with this club from playing putt putt, or if you've watched The Price is Right, they're putting during one of the games. Those things really catch people's attention, and oftentimes some people only know what a putter is. But you need a putter. The putter is used on the green, and you're going to use a putter on every hole. Statistically looking at the number of strokes for a particular hole, putting can almost make up half the number of strokes that you'll take in a round of golf just because of the nature of what it does. So you may putt on the green. You may putt just before you get to the green on the sides. Most people are more comfortable putting because you don't have to get the ball in the air, and that limits your mistakes. So you definitely need a putter. You want to make sure it's one that you're comfortable with. You want to make sure your arms are hanging and you don't feel like it's jamming into your shoulders. So just kind of make sure your arms are hanging freely. And because there is such a variety of them, whether it's a wedge, a two ball, uh, tons of different things that or different shapes that you'll see the putter come in. And so testing them out, finding one that allows you to comfortably feel like you can hit a ball straight from a roll perspective, that's what you want to look at. You can go to any of your local department stores, Golf Galaxy, Dick's, and they'll allow you to test them. So you can really kind of see what works for you. I play a two ball putter. I like circles. I'm an IT person. So if I have 2 circles on my putter, on the top of my putter, I'm lining up with the circular ball and it's going to a circular hole. That looks pleasant to me. It may not be for someone else. So again, there are lots of options for you. The other thing is a wedge. It can be a sand wedge or a pitching wedge. These are the clubs that are designed for your short game shots. So those shots right around the green, chipping, pitching, getting out of bunkers, things of that sort. So you want to make sure you have a wedge. Now, as you advance, it may be a situation where you need multiple wedges. But as a beginner, you only need one. When you look at that particular wedge, it will have either an S for sand, a P for pitching, it may be an A for an approach, a U for a utility, and if it's in a box set, it may just say W for wedge. You may also see them come in forms with numbers on them. So it may be a 60, a 56, it could even be a 58, a 52. Those in those 50s range, that falls in the range of a wedge. So you'll need one of those. The third club that you'll need is a 7-iron. 7 iron is gonna be your best friend. It is your full swing club. And that club is just allowing you to get a full feel for making contact, allowing the ball to roll up the face of the club for your iron shots and go out, so really getting through the ball. It's easier to hit than the long irons, and when we say long irons, we're talking 3s, 4 irons. Those were really popular as, let's just say, in the past. Some people play them now as well too, but when from a technology perspective in the design, they came out with clubs that were more forgiving, that you could hit farther, whether it's a hybrid, a wood, those types of clubs, they're easier to hit than a typical 3 or 4 iron. So you generally would lean in to those particular clubs. However, for this particular set in terms of understanding the 5 main clubs that you need for your bag, it's a 7 iron. So thus far we have a putter, a sand wedge, and your 7 iron. Okay. Now, then we have the hybrid, and I mentioned it very, very quickly. The hybrid is a combination of a wood, which would be like a driver of some sort or a fairway wood, and your irons. They're typically more forgiving, easier to hit, and you can get the same distance that you would with some of the long irons, the 3s and 4s irons that I spoke of before. So as a beginner, I would encourage you not to try to hit a 3 or 4 iron, but more so lean towards a 4 or a 5 hybrid. Again, it's gonna help you get the ball in the air. You're gonna get more or that same distance, but then you're gonna build confidence faster, and that's critical. Are you interested in making a difference in a child's life as well as the golf industry as a whole? If so, I would like to invite you to be a resource for the A Perfect Swing Foundation. In the A Perfect Swing Foundation, we have our 501c3 nonprofit youth initiative where we introduce youth to the game of golf as a youth development tool in their personal lives. We hone their communication, leadership, and networking skills. So when we think about the golf industry, oftentimes we think about tour players, but the golf industry has careers in every imaginable field that you can think of. And we want to ensure that we expose our youth to that. So we would ask you to consider providing a monetary donation. But in addition, we would love for you to volunteer to be a mentor, sharing your skill set, sharing your job, sharing your roles and responsibilities as a knowledge, as a tool to our youth so that they can understand and get a feel for the various careers through mentorship. Additionally, when we look at the needs in our community, whether it's a monetary donation or just providing some of your skill sets to the organization, that is just as valuable. So whether you're an attorney and you can review legal documentation for us, or you're in the administration field and you can do some clerical work for us, or if you're in the technology field and you can provide some technology services, all of that allow us to continue to pour into the lives of our youth. And I'm going to tell you, I would be so appreciative. You can find out more information about us on our website at www.aperfectswing.net. Again, that's www.aperfectswing.net. And to make it easier, you can click on the link below. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you soon. And then the last club that I recommend you have in the bag is the driver. Now, the driver is long. It's the longest club in the bag. It gives you the longest distance when hit accurately of the clubs in your bag. However, it can be a bit difficult. But when you're talking about it from a beginner standpoint, to just ensure that your confidence levels stay high, you want to be able to get off the tee box with a club that's going to give you some good distance. The driver, the head is larger, so the face is larger. It's typically lighter, so you're swinging it and you're using a smooth tempo. Unlike the irons where you typically hit down on it and then the ball is rolling up the face of the club, the driver is the club that you can really just swing through, and it will typically be the easiest that you will see perform more so like a baseball than you would anything else, because or like a baseball swing, like anything else, because you're hitting up on it. But again, I would recommend a driver. It is longer and typically hardest to hit in the bag, but that is gonna give you the distance that's gonna build confidence for you. And that is the club that's typically put on a tee, and so being able to hit the club off a tee is gonna give you a sense of, a little better sense of comfort as you're learning to hit the ball. So I would recommend that. But just also know that you wanna focus on the control of the driver club when you're learning to hit it, because the distance will come. If you hit it long and it's in the woods and you can't hit it the second time, it's no good. But if you hit it a shorter distance and you can hit it again because you can find it, then guess what? Win. That works. So the 5 clubs that I recommend you have in your bag as a beginner: the putter, the sand wedge, well, a wedge, so be it sand or pitching, a 7 iron, a hybrid, probably a 4 or 5, and then a driver. Now, here's some things that you don't need. You don't need a full 14 custom set of clubs. You don't need the $10,000 set of clubs. You don't need all 14 because you're learning. That's okay. Multiple wedges, you don't need multiple wedges. Blade irons, so blade irons they're very thin, so the sole's very thin. When you see one and you make a comparison of it, you'll see that it's very thin. If you're looking at your 7 iron or your 6 iron and it looks almost like your wedge, so it's as thin or as small as your wedge, that's a blade. That's not what you want. The technology has come so far with clubs in terms of forgiveness, with the cavity backs, things of that sort. You want to make it. You want to give yourself some grace, right? So you want to 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 use some clubs that are going to allow you to learn how to hit the ball successfully. You want to see some success. You need that confidence. So you want to not hit what we consider the blade irons, okay? Many students come to me with clubs from family members. More often, it is a female with clubs from their father or their grandfather. Unfortunately, while that has very, very sentimental value for you, it is not the best club for you to hit. So I would recommend saving those as a memento, but finding some clubs that really fits what you need so that you can play the game successful. Oftentimes, the male and the older clubs, the older considered male clubs, and I use the air quotes because the clubs don't know if you're male or female, but there is a design to it. They're typically heavier. And so when you're trying to play as a beginner with heavier clubs, it becomes difficult. So you want to give yourself a starting chance to be successful. So you want to choose the right equipment. Okay? A couple of tips for buying. They will sell you the world, and you can come out with shiny new clubs, sparkling with your matching outfit from head to toe, all of that good stuff. But the reality is that really what you need? Now, the clothing, you might need those. I won't judge how you want to show up. However, let's talk about the clubs. So, when you're a beginner for clubs, I would recommend you consider buying a complete set. It's less expensive for one, so the investment is less most times. However, you get a complete set of tools that you need to start learning the game. You're gonna get at least those 5 clubs that I mentioned. You're gonna get a bag, whether it's a cart bag that you put on the cart or a stand bag that you can carry when that's easy for you to carry when you're walking. You get all of that in one, so you know that you have all of the equipment piece, and then you just have to add your accessories to that. Another thing in terms of buying that I would recommend is that you go into the store and try them before you buy them. Typically, a store that sells golf clubs, they will tape up the face of the club if they have hitting bays and let you hit them. So you can see the performance of those different clubs. So while, yes, you could get a fitting, if that's not in your budget, if you're a beginner and you're not ready to make that investment, you can still go hit those clubs, the various ones that that store has, and identify the one that you think feels best for you based on the professional help of those in the store with you. The other thing from a buying perspective is you want to ensure that shaft flexibility is what you need it to be. And you can get guidance from that uh, with the salesperson in the store. Um, but typically, the slower swing speeds have a more flexible shaft. So you just wanna make sure that you have the right shaft in that. Don't shy away from pre-owned clubs because there's still value. There's still great clubs out there that you can buy, from secondhand locations that will still allow you a great set of golf clubs to begin learning for. So do not shy away from pre-owned clubs. One thing that you want to also consider is that when you sign up for a golf lesson, I have not shied away from saying I recommend every beginner take at least one lesson with a golf teaching professional to learn the grip, the stance, the setup, ensure that you understand what the lie angle means and how that functions, as well as the length and weight of the shafts. So oftentimes when you sign up for a lesson, there are clubs that that pro will allow you to utilize in your session. Utilize that session also as a knowledge seeking mission. So whatever club that they give you, ask them about it. So why did you use this one for me? Like what does this do for me? Why is this shaft important? And even let them know that you're looking to buy clubs and they can give you some additional guidance. You're not alone in this, even if they're not selling you the clubs. As you take that lesson, you'll find valuable information that will help you, and you'll go in as a smarter shopper after it. So I definitely recommend that. You come out a smarter shopper and you have some of the key fundamentals for the golf swing. So that is important because what you should know is that clubs don't fix swings. The fundamentals do. So you can have the latest and the greatest and still shoot 115, right? We've had a situation in our group where there was a young man, he was playing some older Wilson clubs and he was beating everyone. He was a scratch golfer with clubs that were 20 years old. Like they say, it's not the arrow, it's the Indian, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence for that. All right. And overall, when we think about equipment, just know that it's your confidence that's more important than the equipment. And when I say the confidence, meaning with confidence comes your ability to hit the ball. Meaning, if you can hit it, you're going to feel confident. So there are so many things other than the equipment that impacts your confidence. The other thing I want to talk about is that what I run into with business professionals, oftentimes we are having that networking round with business professionals. We are talking the game. We're trying to build those relationships for business purposes. So when we go out to play, we don't want to look like we don't have the best equipment. We don't want to look like we're using the cheapest balls, the cheapest equipment. We want to look like we belong there. And I don't know what it is, but I think I don't know if it's just an inherent nature where you're like, I don't want anybody to think I'm poor out here. I can hold my own. Well, just because you carrying around a $20,000 bag of clubs, that doesn't mean anything if you can't hit the club, okay? However, I will oblige and offer you some guidance. When you go into a golf store, let's say Golf Galaxy. You go into Golf Galaxy, they will be selling box sets, and there are several different name brands for golf sets. However, when you go in there as well, you will see clubs where you can buy one single club. So you can buy a 7-iron, you can buy a pitching wedge, brand new. And it's multiple brands that you can buy of those individual clubs. So when you walk into the store, those brands that are selling individual clubs, we can relatively say that those are reputable brands. Those are brands that will make you feel secure in your economic situation when you're playing golf. So even if you choose to buy a box set of clubs, if that box set is a brand of one of the clubs, one of the manufacturers that has clubs that you can buy one club of, then you're safe. You may go in and you see Callaway, TaylorMade, Titleist, Tommy Armour, Cobra, lots of different name brands where you can buy an individual club in that store brand new from that manufacturer. If you find a box set that you like that is of one of those manufacturers where there's a single club, single brand new club available, then again, you will feel comfortable in your economic situation. That also goes for balls. Those brands also have balls. So finding those brands, am I saying that those are better balls? No. And am I saying that those brands are better clubs? No. But what I am saying is that I understand when you're doing business and you're networking, you don't want to look cheap. You wanna look like you're a business person. And not even if those individuals that you're meeting with, not even if it's a situation where they're gonna judge you, it is your confidence level that is also gonna determine how you feel amongst them. So if you feel like you need to have items that you think are should be at a particular economic level, that is your guide. If you can buy one brand new one in that store for that club, you could follow that same line for your balls and a box set of clubs. So again, it's your choice. I understand. But again, all of that goes back to your confidence and your equipment, whether it's how much you think it costs or what you think it makes you look like. All of those factor in to your confidence. And either way, it needs to be right. It needs to be accurate for you. So you want to make sure that you're following those proper steps to ensure that you get them to fit for you. So just know that your growth, they're not going to come from the clubs. You have to be able to hit them. But it's going to come from repetition, proper setup, a confident mindset, having the right tool in your hand, meaning the right grip, the right shaft, the right lie angle, all of those key pieces of the clubs. That is going to add to your confident mindset. So start simple. You know, golf is the long game. So you'll have time to upgrade later. And better yet, when you start small, you have an opportunity to feel out what is good, what is nice, what's best for you as you go along. And as you set goals and you continue to get better, reward yourself. So new clubs or certain things can become those types of rewards that you reward yourself with. So leave that on the table as an opportunity to do so for you. Okay? All right. So just to recap, for our no nonsense beginner setup, you need a putter, a wedge, a 7-iron, a hybrid, a 4 or 5, and a driver. 5 clubs, that's it. You need a bag. You don't have to carry them in your hand. You need a bag, uh, and several other key pieces. And so I'll be doing another video that will share all those other things that you need to have in your bag. So as you get started, you get your equipment. I recommend you grabbing my book, A Perfect Swing, available on Amazon as well as on our website at www.aperfectswing.net. Again, that's www.aperfectswing.net. Chapter 6, specifically in that book, Golf's Rosetta Stone, it will really just give you those other key things that you need. I talk about clubs in that chapter, as well as gloves and some of the other essentials that you need as well too. So just remember, if you're starting golf as an adult, whether it's for fun, fitness, professional networking, I just really want you to remember that simplicity builds confidence. You can do it because I did it. I started playing golf as a corporate business professional, and now I am a national award winning golf professional. So I know that it can be done, and I look forward to you doing it. Thanks for joining me on the A Perfect Swing podcast. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who's been overwhelmed at the golf store lately. Save it, like and share, like and follow. Definitely appreciate all of that. And remember, a perfect swing doesn't start with more equipment, it starts with intention. So go be intentional and go be great. Thank you.